to a decent degree, but Ninjin is probably not really going to be on the cards in this one. Taking away the Lulu does feel very smart. It's going to really eliminate a lot of the range threats here that FaZe and Keria will be laning into, and they know that Smash is looking for the more carry-oriented play.
Warum sehe ich Leeson in den First Free hier etwa? Was ist denn das?
Inherently as Smash,
was ist denn das?
Pick, but Kalista does kind of, you know, it's a bit of a nod, but
I thought it was going to be a Poppy ban. I feel like Poppy would have been a really good option. We saw Lucid have an incredibly difficult time into the Poppy, I believe, in game number 3 of their previous series. It was why the Lee Sin didn't quite work out.
1-2 nach Panther und First Boy nicht.
Both the Unraveled Earth and the Steadfast Presence.
Aber sie haben Sion gegen Jason Talia tötet, ja?
There's still a strong potential, like even Lucian angle here for T1, depending on how they want to.
Ist noch nicht over.
A lot of pick with Panther and Talia. Leona is taken away. Another strong pick for Ezreal.
Von Sven.
And honestly, one of career's best picks.
Ja, ich habe
is taken away now. So what does Smash want to do? Go for the blind unit, see if they could fight their way through this and get to the scaling part of the later game. Does he want to play the safer Ezreal? Does he want to play Xayah?
Ist Jace gut gegen Sion? Andersrum. Sion ist gut gegen Jace.
They could try to go for the Thresh angle, but it just feels like in this situation, we've seen it time and time again, Smash just drops the Ezreal. And he has an individual performance that is insane, but it's sometimes his team cannot back it up elsewhere on the map. And Ezreal is not, to me, the pick that you can get it done alone with a lot of the time.
Yeah, I also feel like this composition is pretty all-in. And so if you have started a scrap, I don't think you get that time to sort of just dance around the neutral that the Ezreal does really love to do.
Nami Corki, weiß nicht, ob das da reinpasst. Ich ob die Caitlyn, wollen die Caitlyn Namen gehen oder was? Ne, Caitlyn Elise. Caitlyn Karma? Oh, Caitlyn Karma, oder? Yunara Karma.
Yunara Karma. So it's not a massive amount of engage, but it doesn't actually really matter because they outrange this so not necessarily on the bottom side of the map. The Ezreal will be able to take pot shots and things like that, but the Jace should be able to threaten with these shock blasts.
Die kommt von DK, ist ein Piece of Shit, oder nicht?
Like, well,
ein insanes Piece of Shit.
Korea might be showing us. The problem is, if you do choose an engage support, this lane is not going to be fun. And instead, all right, this is a way to do it. Just go for a bit of an all-in.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a piece of shit.
Almost, it's like the theme, the concept of this draft is not as hard to play out for the bottom 2v2 this time for FaZe and Keria, because this time they have the Karma on their side. But the way this game is going to play out for FaZe almost is exactly the same as the Zeri game did in game 1, where it's like, okay, can you kill this guy? He's going to do massive amounts of damage. He's going to cut through your front line. You have so much for him. He has a Karma to get
shields. Die bekommt direkt eine neue.
Prio is going to be yours on the top side. You have bottom side Prio with the Yunara Karma. That's always going to have push. Unless some crazy hooks come through from Career, we see that turn around. And then the Rise into the Talia. The Talia has not really, so far in the LCK Cup, been the winning one on that side. And yes, the Rise for Showmaker will out-damage Talia in team fights, so it's not just the Ezreal doing the damage. But if this Yunara comes online, gets online early, T1, they could just do whatever they want, but this time they have engaged. This time they have tools to kill the Rise, and then the Ezreal is done on its own.
In Game 1 war eine Demonstration davon, dass es ein 3-0 wird hier.
One of the biggest issues for Lucid, who's going to struggle to make an impact on this Lee Sin, even though Lee Sin has a lot of agency in the early levels, with no lanes to play through, it's going to be tricky.
And he also, like, he was on a Jarvan in the last game, right? And you have a lot of tools to get stuff done early. He got nothing done early. So we're going to have to see Lucid really make a turnaround here in game number 2 if D+ do want to even out the series. Let's get into it. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the rift for the second game of the series. D+ wanting to see whether they can get back on the horse once again. Showmaker on his rise. I feel like, once again, going to have a decent time in the lane you already mentioned. We have seen the Talia versus Rise matchup right here. We can see things working out relatively
die haben noch nicht gegeneinander gespielt.
But it should be that Showmaker can pretty comfortably build up to his first couple of items and do a lot more damage than what Faker will be able to do on this Talia, assuming he goes for the same relatively anemic build that we've seen quite a few times with the Rylai's second. Hook going to connect, as Keria will just not really mind because it's level 1. And hits the mantra Q.
Yeah, just going to continue to harass here. As long as you don't get hooked under turret, Keria.
Yeah.
He's really standing close to... yep, standing close to a hook.
Oh, and there it
Wow.
is! Not going to quite have level 2 just yet,
Wow.
so Pei's not going to get knocked up, but that could have been worse.
Yeah.
Invested the Ghost.
I don't think it matters too much in this lane because...
31. Januar. Oh, es gab einen besseren Patch schon. Okay. Ach, da habe ich es nicht geschaut. True, da habe ich geschlafen.
Didn't need to happen that
True.
way.
Das war wahrscheinlich ein Sonntag oder sowas.
And they do at least punish
Schluffi gemacht.
with a mantra Q there.
Like there is almost no champion. Like obviously Ashe Seraphine trumps all, but there's almost no champion in the game that warps lane like Karma does, where it's like, yeah, my AD carry did get hooked.
Ach, das war das Regular Season Best of 5, ne?
And it means nothing. We're still winning.
True.
This wave is crashing.
Ja, das war dieses Super Week in der LCK. Ich erinnere mich. Aber ich glaube, ich habe es nicht geschaut.
We had the little zoom. Jonas Strong was thinking that Korea might be going for it. Decides not to. We do have a Lee Sin in the area. As D+ will be considering a little bit of a recall, but doesn't actually come on through as Doran and Xiu fighting against one another. I feel like no matter how the meta changes, we will always just have the odd Sion Jace game.
Yeah, that's just how it goes. Chronicle always wished for a little bit more Malphite into Jace, but
yeah,
we never actually had the odd Malphite into Jace game.
At least it's unstoppable something as his ultimate, you know?
Ja, danke für den neuen.
There's that.
Das heißt, Super Week, das war einfach innerhalb dieser...
The Jace is going to win the matchup unless errors are made.
In der Regular Season, die letzte Woche davon, haben die Best of 5 gespielt.
If the Jace wants to play hyper aggressive
Und Super Week ist quasi einfach nur, ja, eine mehr Anzahl, also höhere Anzahl an Games.
Lucid does discover Owner. Yeah, he just does come on through there. But Showmaker making his way over here as well. Has to deal with the rocks as at least the seismic shove does not quite connect. Vision everywhere though, so Korea not going to be able to find these cute little hooks from the Fog of War.
Yeah, actually ends up being pretty good control here by D+ to grab that scuttle.
Ooh, Smash not going to quite find the Essence Flux angle.
Haze does not have barrier.
Super Week gleich mehr Games, Super Week gleich Fnatic.
It's going to be pretty tricky here when he's alone. With the Karma there, he kind of permanently has barrier, feels like, obviously. And Doran is just going to say, all right, thanks for your TP and for your health bar.
Yep.
Irgendwas in der Jace haben sie gemacht, ne? Eine Melee-Q oder sowas für Lane? Welche Aktion gibt es halt bei Moore, sag ich um 11 Uhr. Also, kann ich auch jetzt schon sagen.
Doesn't feel fantastic as Lucid makes his way towards the top side for his Gromp. That does have
20% auf alles, 40% auf Proben, plus Early Access, bla bla bla. Ab Sonntag, 22.02. um 11 Uhr bis 1.03. um 10 Uhr gibt es 20% auf euer komplettes Sortiment, mit Ausnahme von Büchern, Chunky Bundles, Probierboxen, No More, Sugar, Light Chocolate, Topic und Daily 101 Box. Sowie 40% auf alle Proben. Special Deal zu jedem Kauf einer Sahne 2 Kilogramm Dose gibt es 50% Rabatt auf einem More Spices, Variante frei wählbar. Da gibt es neue Produkte. Es ist ein neuen Syrup, Cherry Kiss Pomegranate, habe ich noch nicht probiert. Ice Coffee, Aprikose. Milky Chino neu und dann gibt es Restocks. Ja. Was heute Raid Watch Party wahrscheinlich schon,
There's no Blitzcrank in the bottom lane, so Pei's can just continue to push this in and grab a plate. So it's not all for nothing here for T1 with that flash being expended for Faker. They do get the cross map on the bottom side, a small one.
Yep.
But one to be sure.
Bit of extra money. So
Keyboard werden ein bisschen.
As now Doran dives on top of Xiu.
Ich schaff Fallgun POV.
Yeah.
He is one of the ones that we have here in the LCK.
Oh, and actually Smash has taken teleport. Interesting one, as the flash hook doesn't quite connect there.
You know that you're never really going to have the trade pattern to actually look for a barrier play into this composition, and cleanse feels relatively low value. And really, you're only cleansing a Pantheon or maybe like a root from Keria on the leash.
It
does make a lot of sense to go for TP, especially in the losing lane as Faker.
Yeah, is going to try and shove back Lucid, who gets himself out of there. The Q is going to miss.
Das ist ja nicht sein
No flash, remember, that's why Lucid decided to go for it and waited for the rocks to be on as well.
Nicht sein pre-placed, interesting.
As now Owner not going to quite find the angle there, but will have a very deadly spear being lined up pretty soon.
We haven't seen Pei's complete his first back yet. He's going to go ahead and take that now. See, with the small lead he has, just going to grab Greaves on first back, which is really high value for Yunara. Even grabs the extra longsword there, so a lot of money he had in his inventory. The lead that Showmaker has picked up here hasn't really amounted to too much just yet, but he grabs a plate now and is starting to build up a small CS advantage.
Yep.
And Doran, obviously on the top side, has a greater lead, but doesn't necessarily mean as much, you know, well, not as much as like a small lead here for Showmaker. I don't want to compare the two of them. What I mean is, this lead isn't a huge one. Is Keria?
Yeah, is going to be face tanking here, and down he will go. Lucid able to pick up first blood. True Shot Barrage helping out.
Good play.
There was a ward in the river.
Sometimes you walk into Tri-Brush and you make it most of the way via a hook, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a big win.
It is.
Hill goes over to Lucid in the bottom lane. And that lead is more significant. Really what I was getting at is that the Scion is going to be okay to be down on gold into this matchup, and they opted into that. They knew that was going to be the case. His job is to just be a health bar later on. This is a more significant advantage picked up as this Lee Sin starting to get off the ground.
Oh, let's see. Korea does not throw the hook. But remember, you miss every hook you don't take. So technically, he just missed the hook.
Sure.
As Keria, let's get a ward on over. Let's cancel Korea's back there momentarily. Smash off to the side, God Hand, not quite activated. Seismic Shove also not going to quite connect here. So everyone is safe for the moment. Room Prison comes on through, but Showmaker still taking a fair bit of damage back as the threaded volley is starting to hurt. We'll have to see what Faker's build is going to be. It looks like it is going to be a Seraph's, but we have seen other Talias go for second item. Leandri's, for example, with the Scion on the enemy team could be a decent option.
Definitely going to be one of the options for him here. The thing I'm looking at in this game so far here for T1 is, you know, we haven't seen as much of an impact from Owner in this game. Hasn't used his ultimate just yet. And it doesn't look like he's going to be using it here.
Weiß mal, wo die erste Ulti kommt.
Bottom lane.
Auf Botlane?
He also doesn't have insanely strong side laning champions to play through. Oftentimes with this Pantheon, you end up having a Zir to play through, for example, or a really strong pushing. Sometimes if you have like Pantheon Ryze, the Ryze has great wave clear. It can be a huge threat in sides, or even sometimes a Gwen. He has a Jace, which can do a lot if left alone, but is pretty fragile, so he can help defend the Jace, but it's also a Talia with Ghost, so I think he needs to do a little bit more early here. He does have a nice angle right now. He's unseen behind the enemy lines.
Yeah, the problem as well is that it's Keria here on the Karma, so not going to be backing him up with too much extra. As now Owner and Faker do find Showmaker, but he does move himself out of the way. You're going to connect there onto Owner as the kick. Let's see whether it does actually come on down. Exhaust comes through.
Oder du musst halt auch mal einen Hook treffen. Hallo Hanni, guten Morgen. Du musst halt auch mal einen Hook treffen.
Okay, now an all-in angle here for Pays, a level down.
Smash, not quite finding it here. As the Mystic Shots are difficult.
Geht von All-in mit der Adaptive Force Potion.
Quickly. Ghost and ulti going to be helping him out there. The flash forward from Showmaker, though, that actually catches Jonas Strong off guard, and that's another kill for Lucid. This time the hook is going to connect, but there was no one else there. And so Owner is going to turn that into an engage for himself, but only has Keria backing him up. And so DK just 2-0 with not much of a response.
And Pays doesn't actually follow on the all-in there on the bottom side.
Hello, gotcha.
Felt like he had a pretty decent angle to continue trying to push Smash out. So Smash actually gets almost everything here and still remains up on farm. As Lutz is even going to take some of the jungle away here from Owner.
The teleport, I believe, just spotted him as he teleported over the top of the camp. That was a cute one, but he is now going to be going back home. So Owner should be able to take the Drake, though.
They get the Dragon here, but this is just D+ playing very proactively in the early game and punishing T1 quite heavily.
And Lucid is the one that's the benefactor, right? We were asking him, like,
Ja, Fabi.
Lucid, can you be more proactive? Well, he's 2-0 in this game. There are only 2 kills so far, so that is
Hast du richtig gut gesehen, ne? Der Ward von Lucid war disgusting, aber sehr, sehr gut gesehen. Wie es Lee Pantheon Matchup. Nicht wirklich Kill Pressure auf either side. Pantheon sollte winning sein, außer er verkackt sein E.
We said he didn't really have lanes to play through, but he's found opportunities. Ashiu, I don't know if this is an opportunity.
Oh, he gets a flash kind of as a freebie, and so you'll take those.
And like Lucid is on the top side of the map. I don't know if they make something of this, you might be able to.
Oh dear, Lucid going to be able to at least stop him from backing out of the way, but we know that there's no one coming. There's no teleport on this team. Nothing at all, and so
Pause. Ist das eventuell das 1-1? 3-0 auf Lucid?
3-0 here for the Lee Sin.
Well, D+ are really off to the races in this one, and T1 are really going to struggle to find their way back in. Because that this Jace does not have TP. Now is going to find himself, even in CS, the Scion takes a lead as 2 plates are given over. And this Talia is going to take a long time before she can really start setting up plays. And Owner has felt invisible in this game, just behind the plays here from Lucid.
Oh,
finds himself 1,000 behind.
Oh, another hook. Going to go wide here. This Pays doesn't have his Ghost back available just yet, but also hasn't had to use his flash at all this game. So feeling pretty comfortable on this Yunara. A looming threat, you could say, as that Realm Warp was optimistic at best, and Showmaker will be going down as T1 pick up their first kill of the game. That's a max range hook, very nicely done there, as Carrier's burning down, takes the Blitzcrank for a walk though, and he will get snared. And Korea looking a little worse for wear, but otherwise is going to be all right. Pays just able to offer so much damage back.
Crazy amount of damage, and because there's no real follow-up here when you already used your buttons as Career, Pays can just walk up and know that he wins these exchanges because the Ezreal can't offer the same amount of damage back unless he gets everything. He's got sidesteps. Faker will also grab plate gold here in the mid lane. As finally, Owner makes a play. He's been looking for these plays all game long, but hasn't found the right one until just now.
War das nicht einfach alles besser? Nee.
Realm Warp here from Showmaker and takes
Blitzcrank Hook ist more explosive.
the kill goes over to
Nautilus gibt lange Trades. Also Blitzcrank gibt kurze Trades, wo du ihn einfach quasi instant reinhookst. Nautilus gibt lange Trades, und lange Trades gegen Yunara Karma sind sus, weil Karma dann mit ihrer Ulti-W sich gegenheilen kann.
D+ can continue to be proactive here. It's hard to say which comp has a timer on it, like in terms of which comp scales better, because obviously with the Rise here on the side of D+ and this relatively safe Ezreal, they have a lot of this. Here comes the Taliyah wall.
Guten Morgen, Chef. Macht Freddy heute beim Raid mit? Ich habe irgendwas in seinem Chat gelesen oder sowas gestern, dass zeittechnisch irgendwie schwierig wird oder so. Guter Play.
And Faker just decided that Korea was gone.
Yeah. And T1 have kind of decided they want to start using their globals.
Well, Lucid has also decided.
Und Blitzcrank holt zerstört auch Schilde. True. Guter Punkt auch noch. Später.
That was beautifully played. Carry is going to be there, and everyone else.
So, wenn Bruder Lucid hier stirbt, haben wir ein Problem. War die Woche auf Trainingslager? Grrr.
Showmaker getting some plates on the other side.
Na
See
gut.
whether Lucid can actually execute himself. He might actually be. Never mind. Faker is able to get it, and there's even an assist over for Carrier.
Yeah,
Did buy a bit of time.
Unfortunately for him, he didn't quite get enough time there to get away, and the kill does go over to Faker, but feels pretty okay here for D+. You know, they end up getting a lot of play.
Einer schauen noch nicht.
And he's one of their big win cons. I was just starting the conversation.
Dicker, was machst du hier?
TP here from Doran.
Yeah, it's
Kann streamer nicht live?
this bottom side of the map. He's spotted on that water's Career makes his way down. Does get the knock up, but there's Carrier here as well. So Career's just really dead.
I'm not sure if they
Die werden das Game verlieren.
saw him. There's that ward over the wall. I guess that's where they spotted him. There in the
Natürlich nicht.
that ward to the left of the Dragon Pit. So T1 were just like, all right, I think we collapse on Career. And there's nothing really Showmaker can do to help him out with a prio that pays.
Das ist total schwierig, wenn I don't know.
So just a really cool heads-up play from Doran. He's had quite a few of those teleport plays in this series already. The Rumble now on the Jace here, picking up a second.
Wenn ich kann jetzt vor 12 bleiben, kann ich so eigentlich morgen streamer.
Unfortunate though, because that is sort of 2 deaths in a row here for Korea, and the
Oder also.
DK did have an advantage in. Just kind of slipped.
Ich habe was nicht mitbekommen.
So now we have Rod of Ages completed here for Showmaker. That is going to be starting to stack up. You know, 25.
Kani Streamer. Oh,
He will have
Teilzeit.
completely done.
Teilzeit.
And looking to get that tier transformed into his Seraphs.
War einmal, bevor reich war. Ja.
Will get that
Ich habe gesehen, Shakes und Fidget.
real damage dealer. But for
But
now,
like speaking of real things, well,
Yeah.
real damage dealers. I'm looking at Pays, absolutely.
yes.
But on the other side, it is going to be Showmaker and to a lesser extent, I think Smash in this game. I think it's a little bit more difficult just because if Smash is ever
Digga.
even slightly in range of Pays.
Ich gehe da ganz kurz. Okay, also ich bin gerade ganz kurz auf sein Profil gegangen.
A lot of the engage.
Grab my meal, Emma, Holzkern, More, Shakes, Deva. What the fuck is Deva? Instant gaming und Wild.
He gets hooked by Career. He's like, I will kill Career.
What the fuck?
Not as worried.
Respectable, no joke. So fucking respectable.
Chemtech Soul, as there is the ulti out of Owner, like you were talking about. They just decide to kill Smash.
Ja, das Game ist over.
Kind of what we were talking about is the eye, I think, is not
Ach, Partner.
It's a double.
What the fuck?
Pays as Lucid going to be able to take the Rise exit. But I don't think that's really what they wanted because now Pays is on the board and this is the problem that they had in the last game.
Yeah, very similar story here. And now they're looking for more.
Yep.
Fucking crazy, no joke.
Does go wide though. Showmaker still getting
Ja, und dann noch SK, ne, die noch nicht mal drin sind.
tries to go out, but explodes.
Geisteskrank. Ja, das Game ist over.
And Showmaker once again sidesteps, but straight into a spear. And
Stell dir vor, du musst den Titel auch noch anpassen. Ja, legit.
Yeah,
Größtes Gamba-Game gewonnen. War Shakes und Fidget mal nicht Gamba? Hallo Lukas. Das passiert, wenn man Brand so ein hübsches, jung aussehendes Gesicht hat. Aua. Aua. Hallo Ridicule. Ja, habe ich XPP. Hallo Danny.
And then in this set of circumstances, Showmaker, really nice dodge here, but Lucid going back in here is definitely going to raise C-Max's ire,
I think perhaps he thought that the rocks were going to expire earlier than they did, because it was not really the look he was going for.
It was already a bit rough.
Oh, Showmaker.
Kann ich älter als du? Ja.
So should be able to catch up to Faker momentarily. Let's see whether he gets in range as no flash.
Lucid's here.
Yeah, Lucid is going to try and make something happen. Seismic shove now on cooldown as
Stark.
Toll. And Lucid is able to lock down that kill. So there's a little bit back here for DK.
A little bit of redemption, yeah. All right, feeling better about this one. This also could be a freebie.
Yeah, the flash in from Doran as he looks to just eviscerate Showmaker, and that absolutely works. As now Smash tries to arcane shift himself out of the way, and there is the knock-up onto Pays. In the meantime, though, Lucid outplays.
Lucid fickt.
Finds the angle onto Doran, and the gank in the mid lane does not quite work out. So maybe we were signing the obituary for DK a little early.
I don't know. I mean,
Lucid stirbt.
Gonna die slowly again, it looks like. Don't think he'll be able to get the execute, but
I think he will, because I don't think he's been.
Kann der Lee allein hier irgendwas machen? Nein.
I just don't think he gets that.
Nein.
Yeah, he needs to die ASAP. As Pays, let's see what
Plant benutzen. Geht der Killer durch? Nee, ne, geht er nicht. Ja. Egal, XP.
Buying a lot of extra time there as well. Surprised Pays didn't flash for it, but I guess he decided that losing his flash for potential gold there was.
Okay, T ist 18 Minuten eingezogen. Jesus Maria. Okay, schmeckt bitte. Das ist Pfefferminze. Muss jetzt schmecken. Jetzt über noch einmal 9 Kills. Ja. Blitzring kommt, die nichts gemacht hat. Bis Midgame. Und dann auf einmal Karma OP. Und gute Picks zu werden ist auch. Pfefferminze kann er gar nicht schmecken mit Honig, ja.
That's when the magic happens here. So watch it from Lucid's perspective.
Yeah, gets it. That was pretty cute. Just trying to make sure that he is missed by as many buttons as possible.
And also, like, I mean, unless Doran hits everything, I think he probably kills him in every scenario there. But Doran really wanted to get the kill on the Showmaker.
Wie kannst du krank werden? Das geht gar nicht, weil ich in einem fucking Rattenloch war. Weil ich in einem Rattenloch war. Was soll ich machen? Ich bin machtlos. Er war einmal draußen. Nein, ich bin in Berlin draußen gewesen. Und ich war in diesem disgusting Flughafen. Es war 100% dieser disgusting Flughafen, der mich gefickt hat. 100%. Ich war 100, aber to be fair, es könnte auch hier aus dem Haus sein. Weil komplettes Haus Engelmann ist gerade stillgelegt. Alle krank. Und das kommt nicht von mir, also kann auch sein, dass die mich eingesteckt haben, aber eigentlich geht es gar nicht. Von Zeit her. Weil du einmal in deinem Leben draußen warst, Ruhe. Aber uns auch krank, ja. Gute Nummer, no joke.
And they're set up for Dragon here. It's 20 seconds until their soul point, potentially, if they can secure it here, is set. Nona doesn't have his ult, but he doesn't need it because they have Prio, so he can just walk in. And they have Weaver's Wall, so this is where things get really hard for D+ now. Even with Showmaker respawning, guess what? He went Ghost, so he doesn't have TP, doesn't have Realm Orb, and T1 really can do no wrong on this.
Meine Kamera was Stream aus, alles gut. Mein Hals ist schon wieder fein. Gestern war mein Hals rough, aber der ist jetzt schon wieder gut. Ja, das Game ist over. Alles gut. Wir haben jetzt noch Down bis Rise online ist. Nochmal eine Weile. Ich fasse den Zinn uns im Haus an. Ja, aber ich bin ein bisschen zu schnell krank geworden, habe ich das Gefühl. Nachdem ich wieder da war. GG. Ja, 3-0. 3-0.
And the outer will fall at the same time. In the meantime, Shiyu and Faker just fighting towards the bottom side. And
forget Dragon!
Yeah, they thought about a soul point, but then they were like, purple?
Yeah, and that is exactly what they're going to go for. With the Chemtech Soul, they get the Empowered Honey Fruit just to make it even easier.
Magie ist zurück. Ja, DK ist einfach mal wieder Enttäuschung. Eine Enttäuschung. as always.
Okay, this is optimistic.
Yep.
And you know what?
Let's see whether he can hit these Mystic shots as the seismic shove does connect. Korea misses the hook.
I thought Faker might have hit a goner there, but if he doesn't hit the hook, I suppose it is going to be just fine. Okay, so missing the hook here into the slow means, okay, you're just dead. And that's kind of how Blitzcrank is. It's a little bit binary, but they had no setup, so they had to fish for something. And the pace is just so huge. Like, Smash cannot contend with him. And Doran over the wall.
Yeah.
It's
the vision control, right?
It's just everything.
Olli wenigstens macht natürlich nicht. Also der ist gestern, also vorgestern ist er ja um 5 ins Bett. Ich weiß nicht, wann er gestern ins Bett ist. Das will ich gar nicht wissen.
Oh, there's the kick flash as Faker out of position potentially, but does just shove Lucid back. And now Ona's going to turn up. There's a teleport in from Doran as well. Lucid immediately punished as a hook is going to connect, and the Scion is at least able to get some work done here towards Doran, but he gets a big old shield.
Oh.
We're going to check out a replay for a moment.
Oh.
Now we are back to watching Shiyu die. We couldn't actually show on camera what had just happened, and so therefore we just panned away.
Censored.
Yeah, 100%, and I appreciate it a lot.
Halb 5 war am Discord noch an, ja, dann FF.
In this game, but
Dann FF. Müssen wir gar nicht drauf hoffen.
He's got a pretty similar KDA to his Yumi game last game. This game state starts to feel pretty similar as well. A little bit more owner focused this time around, as he had a slow start, as you pointed out, but sitting at 12 and 15 KP right now. This game is looking pretty over.
Yeah, hook again, gonna go wide, and DK probably realizing they'll have to possibly concede this inner turret, as instead it will just be a plate taken here by T1, and they look for a little bit of a reset. In the meantime, Doran towards the bottom side, and you know, you said this already, if the Jace ever gets some spare time with some turrets, they just kind of explode.
They do. Didn't necessarily think it was going to work out that way for them in this game with how the early game went, but like, this is classic T1. I think T1 fans, they're like, it's my favorite, it's a classic. You think you got Faker, but actually my whole team...
Zeig Tweet nochmal. Wieder ein Flame gegen die Bahn.
Guess what? Teams just keep trying to kill Faker, and in this lead for T1, in the global jungler, you can't get him. You try, you can't get him. He baits you, you lose the game. They were already losing the game, but it feels surely lost now.
It certainly is, as we're going to have a look at that replay. Meanwhile, in live, Lucid is dying, and Doran is just going to do some flips and land on his head.
Production.
We'll go the Lee Sin.
They really just want to shelter D+ fans today, and I think it's maybe warranted.
Oh!
Come on. Oh, die haben kein Damage. Okay, es ist pathetic. Es ist pathetic.
And it's not exactly what you want to see. Shiu's on the wrong side of the wall. Baker also just going to come
Es ist pathetic.
Smash. Ona turns up as well as Showmaker is just kept out with that Aegis. And Shiu
3-0. 3-0.
Done,
Machst nix.
ladies and gentlemen, T1 will just roll over the top of DK here in game number 2. It was a great start, especially by Lucid. But then we felt it, that back-breaking moment. And then it all fell apart. That house of cards just flat on the floor.
I feel robbed. I thought game 1, D+ had a great draft into what T1 put together. I didn't doubt T1, but I thought, okay, well, this should be interesting, right? Like, let's see how T1 plays it out. But it just became such a foregone conclusion so quickly. And then in this game, they just let it go so fast. T1, 12,000 gold up here now, sub 25 minutes. Yes, their Nexus will survive for now. But if this is what game 2 looks like, when the team that has historically not been able to find their footing and get momentum back in lost series.
It was the Megacone engage into death angle.
Yeah, well, that's one way to describe it. As here, you thought you caught Doran, and they did catch him actually.
Yeah.
But they just don't have the damage to kill him.
Yeah.
And then Faker, this is the hilarious. Faker's just like, I don't like that Smash guy anymore. He left us. Like Faker just is like, I'm gonna kill him. You guys keep pushing
jersey now, buddy.
Oh no, it's a tragedy on the Rift. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a 3-0 predictor, and we're not there yet. But it starts to feel more likely. I wanted more. These two teams, we have the history of them together, right? It's a massive win for T1, 9-3. But it's still 32-18 games, and a lot of these series have been pretty interesting, especially in the Damwon and D+ Kia early days era of, you know, them playing T1 close, right? And taking a finals against them, but end up being pretty one-sided in the last time they met up against each other earlier this year, and it's looking like it might be the case here once again. As like these drafts are also not that desperate. Like, yes, it's tough to play into the Karma. They went for the Blitzcrank, but 0-5 on the Blitzcrank I think is not really what they had planned. It's not how they imagined this game going. 0-5 on the Rise, getting collapsed on.
So, rough oder nicht?
Planned for this game.
Man weiß aber genau, okay, die verlieren.
Sure, Lucid got a lot done, but he was the only one who was able to pick up gold, and T1 were just able to out-macro. And this Pantheon pick, even though it was slow, it could just impact everywhere. Delia's Weaver's Walls from Faker have been so good this game, too, and it just feels like now you're thinking about your Game 3 draft more than anything else, and maybe Max won't pick blue side this time.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Schau, hast du einen neuen Champ bekannt? Nee.
Maybe get some counter pick angles in there.
Ich glaube nicht, rein technisch.
Last couple of games, never mind. I don't know what the I really.
Ist Panther einfach broken, ja, 100%, natürlich. 100%. Ich glaube, der hat eine geisteskranke Bild auch in LCK.
Someone needs to tell them that they can do it. Because right now,
der war auch irgendwie auf einer 8-Game-Win-Streak oder sowas in LCK, also der Champ ist absolut insane. Gutes Early Skirmishing, clear is fine. Prozent Armor Pen auf seinem Kit, Global Ulti, scaled gut. Ja.
Faker is pushing this bottom lane with a pretty big wave here. Shiu is going to have to answer. Looks like he's going to pick up 2 plates off of this. And if they had Realm Warp, maybe they could collapse on him, but he's got Weaver's Wall, and he's just going to be able to run away here as the rest of his team does Baron, because it's a 3.5 item Yunara.
They did at least
4 Win 12 plus. Ja, das kann nicht sein. Also du hast mir jetzt gerade die Statistiken in EU gezeigt. LCK Cup.
That is a good idea.
I think it might have been too slow though.
Pick some buns. Pantheon steht 16-11, 60% Winrate. Und der hat eine Winstreak von 2, 4, 6 Games und hat 1 verloren von Raptor. Champ ist insane OP. Ach du Scheiße. FF.
Just destroys them. What was that damage? The Scion is able to punish him, but this is game over, ladies and gentlemen. Pei's able to finish off the Scion, and that'll be the ace, and T1 will march up the mid lane.
It's not
3-0.
a record-breaking pace here for T1, but this game certainly felt over a long time ago, and it's 2 demoralizing losses back-to-back here for D+, as T1 recover fast from their loss against BNK and now put themselves 1 win away from going to Hong Kong, try to fight their way to face old rivals in Gen G. Yeah, Korea almost dies on his fountain, but will be spared that fate.